Well, hello everybody and welcome back to Julie's Orchids. Apologize, I realize I haven't done an update on the babies for a bit, so I thought today would be a good day, mostly because, as you can see, there's been some changes. Now, I got these in a flask in January of this year, so that would mean these would be going on their 5 months out of flask. Boy, they have grown. Some of them have grown a lot, like this one over here, for example, and I'm sorry that I'm watering right now, so I'm not going to pull these out and drip water all over the place, but that's the new growth. Sorry. This is the new growth on this one coming up here. This is how that one's grown. This is the original here, and this is the new growth on this one. And so I've up-potted all of the Orchids maculatas because they were just too big for their little tiny seedling pots. So I do have a few that are in community pots. These are the ones that didn't seem to be running along quite as strong as the others. But I can't say anything other than I'm very happy with these. So we're going to keep up with the Orchids genre. You can see over here are a few more of the maculatas that I've up-potted. The Orchids spatuliflores aren't doing much. Some are growing new growths, some are not. They're all putting out some roots, but we've had a pretty high death rate, so that's new growth coming on this one. But if you remember correctly, when I received these, most of them were still in protoform stage, so I can say I'm still pretty happy with the Orchids spatuliflores. I did repot them and removed the spag moss from them, so now they are just pretty well in bark and Perlite Vermiculite. I'm finding now that it's winter in Perth, that they're staying wet too long and they were getting some root rot. As we'll see a little bit later in the video, the Phalaenopsis bolinas, they took a turn for the worst and quickly. So now I'm going to direct your attention to these three little plants here that don't look very healthy at all. That is what is left of the flask of bolinas. This one here is a Phalaenopsis Venosa Red that I made a swap with via Facebook Marketplace, and it also suffered I'm going to rot really quickly once the weather changed here in Perth. But I think these ones might be saved, so I'm happy about that. Now I've got two little new ones here. I'll show you the name tag on this one. I made a swap with a lovely lady named Jane on Facebook Marketplace, and these two have grown big enough that I've given this one its own little tiny pot, and that one's root system is much more impressive than its leaf system appears to be. Now on this side of the tray we have, again, these were deflasked in January or February of this year, so they're 4 or 5 months old, are the Violacea albas. These ones I was quite worried about when I deflasked them. I did have several of them die, but considering the condition that they were in, they've come along quite nicely. They're putting out new little root tips, as you can see here on that one there and that one there. So I'm hopeful that these ones will survive. And then I also, a few months ago, got this little Cattleya chantilly lace from Lindbergh's as well. So we're having some death on some of them. Very high mortality rate for the bolinas. Violacea albas, I'd say we have more alive than dead. Orchids maculata are coming along sportingly, and again the spatuliflores, considering the condition and how young they were in flask, I'm quite happy with those, but we still have a few more to look up. And in this green tray, we're having a look at the Phal Stuartina Tipo and Phal Philippinensis Silverleaf. The Stuartina Tipos, when they came out of their flask, I was quite a bit worried about them and didn't think that many were going to survive, but these have proven to be quite the little troopers and are just throwing out new leaves. Look at those beautiful leaves and new roots. So I'm really astonished by all of the Stuartinas. The Philippinensis are as well tossing up some nice roots and new leaves, and very happy with these. So I have a lot of faith that most of these, if not all of them, are going to survive. Maybe not this one, because we do have a few of the little Philippinensis that are quite small, but again, most of these, considering the condition that they were in, are doing fabulously. And in this corner of this mixed tray, we're looking at what's left of the Pectopanara Wild White Fairies. This one again came, I believe, with the broken flask. Lost a lot of them just because of the flask being broken. And then again, when fall came in, the humidity levels went up. These are packed with a lot of sphagnum moss in their pots, and we've had a lot of rotting deaths. So we're down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and only 8 of those left. But the little repot that I gave them today, I could see that each one of these plants is nicely coming along with the root system, as well as growing another tuber. So yay! And so the rest of this video is going to follow up on some new flasks and some swaps that I've made. So I went ahead and purchased on the 4th of the 5th they arrived 3 different set of species phals. Yes, I'm getting into the species phals, and all the ones that I'm getting are said to be fragrant. So I really like the Violaceas, and we have Alba already, and I was able to find Violacea cerulea, and super happy with that. So these have been deflasked for right on a month, so they're not very old, but we've got varying sizes of them, and learning from the last set of phals, these ones went directly into just bark, and I just watered them again, fill up the bottom of the tray with some water, and just let it soak up to wet the media, and then I let it dry out completely. Now I'm pretty sure that this one is likely going to die. That one, this one right here is likely going to die, and I guess I'm kind of okay with that. And then we do have a few in these smaller community pots that were just so tiny that those won't make it, but for the most part this one came with nice big sized healthy seedlings coming out of that flask. And then again, the next flask that's new to the collection, again deflasked on the 4th of the 5th, is Phal Modesta, and this one had the most plants in the flask. And again, as you can see, a lot of them came quite small, and those were the ones that are dying off. But a lot of them also came to be quite big and healthy and beautiful. So again, lesson learned, straight into just bark for these. And the last of the new Phal babies that I bought and deflasked on the 4th of the 5th is Phal manii. And these ones, now there wasn't, as you can see, a lot in the flask, but their roots were incredibly long, so I put them in these really long seedling containers, and they're planted also in just straight bark. And I do find that these require, they don't soak up the water so well in these pots, so I do have to sort of water the top of the bark, and I'm having to water this particular one right now every 3 days. So I'm hoping come summertime that they get a lot more roots down into that bark, and maybe we can get them repotted into something that'll uptake the water a little bit easier than these particular pots. So I even put holes on the bottom to try to help the water wick up, and it just really doesn't. So these ones here are now being the most finicky ones in that I have to water them from on top. And these two here are the last of the babies that I have. Now I have made trades with some local orchid people via Facebook Marketplace, so I've traded some of my babies for some of their babies. I met a very lovely lady named Jane via Facebook Marketplace, and her and I made some swaps, and I got a fowl Bastanii and the fowl Aphrodite, and then this one is just such a healthy, beautiful one, strong root system. It was putting out some new roots, so I thought I would go ahead and set it up into my preferred method, and I am going to slowly move my fowls into this setup. And this one might look like it's in a bit big of a pot, but there is roots all the way down here, and it does have lovely growing root tips. And so I thought, well, it had a lot of spag moss in it, and I was having a hard time with the layering of things, keeping the top area by the roots wet. So we're just going for this system and see how it goes, and my fingers are crossed. And well, that's the 5-month update on the babies. I thank you again for watching. If you liked the episode, please give me a thumbs up. A subscribe would be nice. And you guys have a lovely, wonderful day. Bye.